I'm a lecturer in Biomedical Sciences. So my job's in the School of Biomedical, Nutritional and Sports Sciences. I teach across the Biomedical Science degree programs. So that's biochemistry, biomedical science, physiological science and pharmacology. But I also have various other roles in the school. So I look after the school's social media channels. I help with students who want to do a placement year between their second and final year. And I'm also involved in all things careers. So I also publicize careers related employability things to students as well. So I can't pinpoint exactly when my interest in physiology came about. When I was doing my A-levels, I knew that I wanted to do something biology related. I can't really pinpoint why, but I knew it was human biology in particular I was interested in. I was never really that bothered about plants or animals, but I liked learning about human physiology and disease primarily, I think, is what attracted me to the subject. So I think it stems from them. So I was probably about 17 or 18. And then a little known fact is that I actually went on to study medicine first, and then left medicine and transferred into physiology afterwards. And originally I was actually interested in neuroscience until I started learning about neuroscience and realized how difficult and complicated it was. In which case I kind of started developing more of an interest in cardiovascular science. So that's where my background is, in physiology and cardiovascular physiology. And my primary interest is in cardiac physiology. So given that I gave up on neuroscience, I kind of went to what is probably the second most important organ in the body. So the brain and the heart are the two big ones, I would say. So I moved on to looking at cardiac physiology, how the heart works. That's my main interest. Specifically, I'm interested in arrhythmias and how they develop. So that arrhythmias are abnormal heart rhythms. So I'm interested in how they develop in other cardiac diseases. So things like heart failure, for example. So heart failure is a disease in itself, but it can predispose patients with heart failure to developing arrhythmias. And often it's actually the abnormal heart rhythm or the arrhythmia that the patient ultimately dies of, or is the cause of their morbidity. The problem is these abnormal rhythms are very difficult to explore experimentally because the heart is made up of billions of individual muscle cells which all contract and interact with each other on a cell-by-cell basis. But ultimately the whole heart, which is about the size of your fist, functions as kind of one entity made up of all these billions of individual cells. So it's difficult for us to know how behavior at the cell level actually translates to problems at the whole heart or the whole organ level. So my research is looking into how that occurs. So we're looking across multiple different physical scales. More complicating matters is actually that my research is computational rather than experimental. So again, it's very difficult to experimentally determine how a heart rhythm abnormality develops, because we can't just go and take a patient's heart and investigate it, because they need that to live. At the same time, if we look at individual cells down the microscope or whatever, we don't know how that behavior translates to the whole organ itself. So I use computational models to investigate how those things happen. And a computational model, without getting too complicated, is basically a computer program that simulates how the cells and tissues work, but using computers rather than actual experiments. It's very difficult to sum up physiology in one sentence, but I'll give it a go. And I'll try not to use the line that anyone will use, which is that physiology is the science of life. To me, physiology is the sum of all the other biosciences, and it's what integrates everything else together in order to determine how living beings function. That's my one sentence. So I think studying physiology is really useful because it sits at the interface of loads of different careers that you can go down with a degree in the biosciences. So physiology, because it often has that clinical application, so you're considering how diseases develop, but you're also interested in how you treat those diseases. Physiology gives you the option to pursue like a basic science career where you go into maybe academia and research, and you look at all the complex underlying mechanisms. But physiology also opens the door for you to go down the clinical route. So work in hospitals, work with patients, doctors, working as part of a kind of multidisciplinary team. It opens that route up as well. And like all other kind of biomedical degree programs, you also get all of the useful transferable skills that will help you no matter what career you go down, whether that's scientific or not. So I think physiology is like the happy medium that opens up all of the doors for you. Yes, and I do my best to make sure that I stick to my interests outside of work as well, because I think it's important to have a work-life balance. A lot of my interests you could probably relate to physiology in some way anyway. So I'm interested in how caffeine affects the body, because I'm a bit of a coffee drinker. How alcohol affects the body, because I'm partial to a beer as well. And also maybe in terms of sports physiology, because I'm also a rugby player when I can. So I'm interested in those as well.